G'day and welcome back to our series on creating a fully custom door in GDL. I'm Bruce from Barking Dog BIM and I help people take Archicad to the next level. Part of scripting a good door is making sure it responds to the varying levels of detail you require across your documentation sets. Your floor plans are going to require a higher level of detail than, say, your site plans. How do we go about that? Let's have a look. Now we've got the levels of detail, which we find under detail level of door, window, and skylight. And our door level of details are here. Now to find these out, it's still a library request, but it's no longer a library request for Library Globals 13. Library Globals 13 is this tab here. So each library global object in your library, so any GDL object that has its object's subtype set to library global settings, will appear as a tab in your MVOs. Yeah. So miscellaneous settings is Library Globals 13. We now need to open this object. Well, what's this one called? It's called LG DW Sim Settings. How do you find that out? With a bit of forensic research. Instead of Get DW Open Lines, it's LG DW Symbol Settings. We open that, click on it, Control-Shift and O, use the shortcut key there, which will be different on a Mac. I think it's Command-Shift-O. Have a look at our interface. Right, we've got the right object. So now we just need to figure out what parameter this is and what these values are. And as I've said before, what you do is you look for text that's near the inbox that you're after, and you search for that text as an outbox. But we're not going to go through that process. What you need to start doing is start keeping your own notes of parameters that matter to you, that are important, that you're going to use all the time. And this is one of the spreadsheets I keep. Pretty nerdy, I know, but hey, of parameters that I need to refer to frequently. And I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of tracking them down in the objects. So LG DW symbol settings, we're after the parameter iDoor MVO detail level 2D. It's a mouthful. And these are the values for those various detail levels. Under the parameters of LG symbol settings, we've got iDoor MVO detail level 2D. And there's our values there. Now, a word of warning, under the master script of this MVO, these values might be different depending on which country or which language version you have of Archicad. So if you've got any one of these language versions, then your detail levels will look different. But for everyone else, they'll be what I just showed you. Given that the doors you create will be specific to your company in your region, this is how you find out what those values are. Now, you could script something for every detail level option in here. Typically, if it's just for your company, you will have specific detail level settings that you'll choose, that you'll select. So you don't need to script something for everything. For this demonstration, I will just script another one for the low open leaf. I'll put this request under my set attributes. That will allow us to test whether we draw the full leaf or draw a simplified version. We've already done a library global request in our 3D. We'll just copy that across. So it's a library global. It is that library global object we're after. It is that parameter value we're after. And if we look at our macro map, we've got a macro here called Get DW Symbol Settings, which is the macro we're after to figure out how Graphisoft does it. We have a look at that. They use a variable called that. And here is their library global requests. All right, we'll copy that variable in. That's just a made up one. You could make it anything you want. I just like to try and match Graphisoft wherever possible, just to make understanding what's going on a bit easier, be consistent where you can. And we want to set our default as a full detail open leaf, 31. I'll set my MVO detail level. I'll make a request to the library global DW symbol settings, the value of that parameter, and I'll return that in this made up variable. If it's successful, then we'll swap the two values out. Sound good? Sounds good. Now I've looked through the Graphisoft objects and they don't seem to declare this variable ahead of their library global command. So we don't need this second declaration. There's no harm in doing it. So I'll comment it out just to see if we get any errors. Should be good. But you always try and keep your code as succinct as possible. Now what I'll do to test whether we're actually successfully requesting what we need, I'll print that 2D detail level. Print is just an on-screen return. Come to my door. In order for print statements to work, under Options, Work Environment, Model Rebuild Options, you need to make sure your Interrupt with Error Messages is turned on. And when I have a look in my door preview, under my 2D preview, I get this feedback here, 31. Good. Let's change this to Site Setout Plan. And we'll make sure low open leaf. 11. And if we check our Ready Reckoner, 31, full open leaf, 11, low open leaf. Excellent. That's the values we want returned. Now we can do something with them. Delete that print command. How are we going to deal with this? A simple if statement, if MVO detail level equals 31, then we'll draw our full detail frame and leaf. Otherwise, we'll just go to another subroutine, which I haven't created yet, called simple door. So that means that logic, everything that isn't 31 will drop into the simple door. That's not quite what we want, is it? In this case, I'll say everything 21 and above will draw full detail, and the other two we won't. And you can choose where that cutoff is if you're only doing a couple of options. So we'll say if our detail level is greater than or equal to 21, then we'll go to our full detail. Otherwise, we'll draw our simple door. Some of you can spot a problem coming. Here's my subroutine, declared with a label, and all it will consist of, have a look at the Graphisoft door, there's a door leaf line and a door swing line. We need our pen, the frame pen, and we'll need our pen and line type for our swing. Now this is going to cause an error, and I'll explain why when I get to it. So for our leaf, we want to add half an A. We have a look at how Graphisoft deals with it. At full detail, that's where the leaf is. So you can see the leaf jumps to the opening. And the top of my leaf is there. So they actually extend the leaf size to be A width. So we'll do the same. So we've got our line. We'll add our cursor across to the width. Draw our leaf line. And then we'll draw our swing. Problem is, we've already done this logic up here. We don't want to repeat the logic. We've also got our library request in here in the leaf subroutine, which if we're going to this simple door, we're not actually going to execute it because it's within the leaf. See? Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take out all of these library global requests. We'll put them in a set attribute subroutine so they always get executed. And we'll create another subroutine. We'll call it door swing. And all of this stuff, setting the pen, setting the line type, we'll take that out of there We'll put it in our door swing subroutine. And so it's a self-contained subroutine that doesn't change anything that we don't want to change. We'll change our line type back to a 1, back to a solid. And then up in here, swing line, we'll go to our door swing subroutine. And we'll do the same down here in our simple door, go sub, door swing. And because I've set the pen and line type in here, we don't need them in here. We do need to draw our door leaf. So it'll just draw a line from this point here to A width. Right? Right, a couple of problems. And this is what scripting's about. Getting your logic in place, testing, having a look, correcting. We need to move that delete up to there. You notice that this is now wrong. Change this to curved. We can see what's happening. It's actually showing the correct swing line if all the frames and everything was modeled. But we don't want that. We want that swing arc to change size. Let's just change this one as well so I can flick between them a bit quicker. Right. So how do we deal with that? Let's just tidy up my tabs a little bit. Well, what we do is instead of having this in place, leaf width, we underscore it with leaf width every instance. And then before we call our subroutine, we set that variable. So we set our underscore leaf width to be leaf width, call our door swing, run through this. And on the simple door where it needs to be A width instead of A minus the frame, we set our leaf width to be A and then call our subroutine. There's that. There's that. And if I go to full detail, there's that. All right. That's pretty good. Now there is something I have missed here. What is it? If I change this opening angle to anything other than 90, that's good there. Whoops, that's still at 90. What's going on there? So what I need to do is put in this rotation transformation. That will solve one problem. Whoops. I forgot that I'm drawing my leaf. I'm meant to be drawing my leaf as if it's closed, and that's what that rotation will deal with. There's my rotation. But now this line is a bit funny. That works. But that doesn't. And you'll see if I change this to floor plans and change this to, let's just do another one here. Change that to straight. It's gone off there somewhere, because what I need to do is I need to now get my trigonometry involved to calculate that endpoint. Trigonometry. Again, get your little tools, your cheat sheets, your help, anything to make this job a bit faster. You can't keep it all up here. So in this scenario, our right triangle, that's one axis. The other one is there. And the other one is along there. So we've got our right triangle like that. So this end X and Y needs to be calculated to cater for that. This is our angle. If we have a look at our diagram here, we've got our A angle. So our cursor is here when we're drawing this line. If we have a look in our 2D script, our arc is at 0, 0 because we've added this transformation to get us to this point here. That's in full detail. In low detail, it'll be to the corner here. So that's where our cursor is. Then we draw our line starting at this point, and then we got to find this point for our end, X and Y. So if the leaf is fully open, if it's at 90 degrees, X will be 0. If it's closed, X will be minus leaf width. Yeah? Our leaf width is our hypotenuse. If it's 90, we want our X to be 0. So our X will be cosine AH. All right, let's plug that in. X will be cosine A, which is what? GS open 2D, multiplied by our leaf width. Now, if I've done this right, this should pop over to here. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. It needs to be minus cosine. There. And the Y will be, if it's at 90 degrees, it'll be the leaf width. And if it's at 0 degrees, it needs to be 0. So it's our sine. So just copy that across, change it to sine. In this case, it will remain positive. I won't get a negative involved. And that line should now drop down to there. Ta-da! And if I change this to site setout plan, there it is. Let's change our opening angle to give it a bit of a test. 60 degrees, fantastic. Righto, so that's our responding to MVO detail levels and MVO settings for our door swing and whatnot. We'll stop there. Thanks for sticking around and watching to the end. Next up, we're going to talk about scripting some additional 2D aids to your door to make it easier to select and edit for the end user. More intuitive. A more intuitive part gets used more frequently. I also touch on structuring the logic of your script. I'll see you there.